Welcome to Disturbing the Peace. I'm your host, John Amanchukwu, coming to you live from YREFI Studios. What happens when simply asking questions becomes an act of courage? Today, I'm joined by Savannah Craven, the pro-life activist whose viral street interviews have sparked national conversations and national controversy. We'll discuss why she refuses to back down and get an update on the lawsuit stemming from the assault she says she suffered while exercising her free speech rights. You don't want to miss this conversation. All here today on Disturbing the Peace.
From heaven, there's too much at stake to be quiet. Let's disturb the peace. Me and you, let's disturb the peace. With John Amanchukwu, disturb the peace.
And now on Disturbing the Peace, I want to bring on my special guest, Savannah Craven, pro-life activist, field reporter for Live Action, host of Her Patriot Voice, and the young woman who was sucker punched in the face twice during a street interview in Harlem, New York. Savannah, welcome to Disturbing the Peace.
Thank you for having me.
It's an honor to have you on the show. So can you give us an update of what's going on with your court case? You were down on the streets talking to someone, and all of a sudden this big, large creature just jumped in your face and punched you, all because you were talking about the sanctity of life. Help us make sense of that.
Yes, the demons were manifesting that day for sure, and they took over, unfortunately. You know, it was just like any other day, having conversations, trying to educate people about the realities of abortion and Planned Parenthood. And specifically this day, I wanted to make sure that the community that's affected the most, people who look like us, know their biggest threat, that it's not this white boogeyman, it's not Donald Trump, it's honestly ourselves, right? And we were having a normal conversation. Of course, this is a difficult topic for both anti-abortion people and pro-abortion people to talk about. Abortion is not fun. I think most people would agree with that. But it was clear that abortion maybe had affected her in some way. And after talking for nearly 25 minutes, you know, she made a very outrageous claim saying that she believed that babies in foster care would be better off killed than possibly going through foster care and experiencing trauma. And after I repeated that, and she was saying horrible things about Christianity and putting down my faith, she just lost it and punched me once with her fist in the middle of my forehead. And then the edge of her phone is actually what she smashed into my eyebrow, which led to me bleeding out of my face.
Wow. You had to go to the emergency room as well, right?
Yes, I did.
Did she pay?
Got stitches. It was pretty rough.
Did she pay for your doctor bills? Anything like that?
No, she hasn't paid for anything. And, you know, we had the wonderful Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg basically assign people to this case who they knew were not going to bring it to justice. And they said that they failed to submit the evidence, which is crazy because I went in and gave them all the evidence that was there. All of it was on camera, right? There was no guessing, like, did she do this? Was this the girl who did it? She came out on social media and was proud. She's boasting about the fact that she, you know, punched a bigot. She punched a Nazi, all the things that they call us, right? I look just like a Nazi, right? And so with that, you know, it was a shame, but not surprising, you know, for a city like New York City. And after that, I got my hospital bill. It was over $3,000.
Wow.
And like, I'm not paying this. This is ridiculous. I mean, this, in my opinion, was a hate crime. It was a crime because I was Christian, because I had different political opinions than her. And I still, you know, of course, haven't paid that bill, and neither has she. We have not been able to serve her directly, civilly. we're still trying to go that route. And so we're hoping to take a default judgment in the next 4 or 5 weeks or so. And hopefully something comes out of that.
I have a video clip on this and what took place. Take a look at this.
I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused.
That's not the point. What I'm saying.
That's really.
What's wrong with you?
All right, hold it right here. You see, after she throws the punch, she starts to walk immediately in the street. You know, and it's by the grace of God that a car wasn't speeding by. And it would have been due judgment that a car was speeding by. But I mean, she sucker punches you, and then she just walks right into this cab. I mean,
Right.
this girl is, I mean, she's out of her mind. I mean, is she on drugs or something?
I don't know. I mean, I've seen her on her social media smoking before, marijuana, but it wouldn't surprise me if she does have some sort of dependency, because this is not a normal thing for a human being to do. You don't sit there and have a 20-minute debate with someone, a 20-minute conversation, and then out of nowhere just punch them in the face and then walk away twerking and yelling. It's very, very strange behavior.
Yeah, there was more than just purple kush and marijuana in that joint. You know, it was laced with some other things that we can't say on YouTube. Take a look at this.
Oh my God. She just punched me in the face. We were just doing a street interview with my camera, and everything was fine for over 20 minutes or however long we were filming, and then she just punched me in the face. Oh my God.
I mean, just look at that. Get a still shot on that, Don, please. That is horrific. Horrific. You can go back about half a second, maybe. Right there. That's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's hard to watch it back because it was just so unprovoked. I have people who are saying, you should have seen this coming. You were agitating her, which is just straight up victim blaming. How am I supposed to know that somebody was going to assault me after having a conversation for so long? This wasn't just we got into it and I was saying horrible things to her. Even if I was, people's speech that you don't like is still covered under the First Amendment. It's still protected. And unfortunately, the truth of abortion, it affects people.
sure.
Because it's so inhumane. It's so unnatural for a human being to rip their baby from their womb and then this baby be discarded like a piece of trash. And whether this woman was directly affected by abortion, maybe she had an abortion or she knew somebody who did, it doesn't surprise me that people that are willing to kill their children are willing to assault people that they disagree with.
We're talking to Savannah Craven about her assault. We'll be right back after this break. Private student loan debt in the U.S. totals about $300 billion. About $45 billion of that is labeled as distressed, while REFI refinances distressed or defaulted private student loans that others won't touch. They provide you with a custom loan payment based on your ability to pay. Why REFI is not a debt settlement company, and they work with each borrower individually, tailoring each loan to each borrower's specific situation. You will not be calling a faceless call center. Why REFI can reduce your monthly payment and guarantees interest rates under 6%, ensuring affordability and financial relief. Why REFI does not care what your credit score is. When the payment on your distressed or defaulted private student loan is so big that you can't ever get ahead in your finances, why REFI is surely your best option. You can finally take control of your student loan situation with a plan that works for your monthly budget. Just call 888-YREFI-85 or log on to YREFI.com. That's YREFY.com. So, Savannah, in this video, right before she hit you, you said, "I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care." That was the moment. What were you trying to say, and why do you think that specific thing triggered violence?
Yes. So right before that, she said that, what are we supposed to do with these children in foster care? What are we supposed to do with these unwanted babies? And I'm like, do you think we should just kill them? And that was the big moment of where she said, well, why not? And I was like, I am on camera a lot, right? So I don't get as nervous as some people do. And even though sometimes we slip up our words, people
Sure.
get nervous
Sure.
when they aren't on camera and they realize what they just said. So I wanted to give her an opportunity to confirm that what she said was really what she wanted to say on camera. And when and I do this often, I will ask questions back to people, or I will say their answers back to them to make sure that I'm getting it right, I'm understanding. And I think at this point, she was just so worked up and she was so triggered by the conversation. And then she was also talking about, that Christianity is not real, that I follow just some man in the sky, and that we came from the Big Bang Theory. And when you actually say words like this out loud, it's the same thing with why affirmations are so important. When we say good things about ourselves, we start to feel better. And when we say bad things about ourselves out loud, we start to feel worse about ourselves. So when you start saying things which are not true, like Jesus is not real and this is a fake person, Jesus was never here, Jesus doesn't love you, that can affect a person, because we are made in the image of God. And even if we follow him or not, even if we don't follow him, he still has an effect on our lives, even though we don't know it, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's very powerful. The tongue is very powerful. And I think that just led the demons, into the opportunity to manifest, and she just lost it in that moment.
Yeah, some demons were manifesting indeed. After she punched you, Rivers walked away with both middle fingers up. The next day, she went on Facebook and said, and I'm quoting, "Throwing rocks and hiding hands is worse." She accepted the punch, but blamed you for it. What do you say? What do you say to that?
Well, to Breonna Rivers and much of the left, words are violence nowadays, but then actual violence is just self-defense. It's really, really interesting how an adult can get so triggered by words that most people in America actually agree with, right? We are still, unfortunately, the silent majority in this country. Most people don't believe on abortion and demand, don't believe that foster care children would be better off just dead. I would hope that they believe in reforming the system instead of killing the victims of it. But this is the mentality of the left, that if somebody goes and offends you with their words or their political opinions, then you can just do whatever you want. And basically her argument is that I provoked her into attacking me and I deserved it because I was being violent with my words. It sounds crazy to even say it because it's just not something that I apply to my life.
Yes, indeed. Now, let's talk about what happened after all of this, because the attack was bad, but what came after that was worse. Justice is now being denied. You talked about DA Bragg dropping the case. Do you think that he's doing that solely because you are a conservative?
Well, all the evidence points towards that. So I went in, and this happened last spring. I went into the office of where the DAs were. I went into the DA's office and, I sat down with them. There was one main DA, there was a note taker and another attorney there. And I shared the story. I shared exactly everything that I went through from start to finish, and all of that reflects in the video because, again, we were filming the entire time. And they looked at me with just a very blank stare on their face. And I felt very uncomfortable while I was in that room because I said, despite what I might have said, what she said, I want to focus on the issue here, the crime, which is that she assaulted me when I had never even laid a hand on her. There was no sign of actual threat that, would have made her do this, would have justified her doing this anyway. And I said, no matter what your political or religious opinions are, please set that to the side, because this is going to continue to happen. We're seeing political violence and religious violence happen all over the country, all over Europe. I mean, it's a mess. And I wanted to send a message to these leftists who believe that it's okay to hurt people, and get away with it. Don't let her get away with this. And they said, we'll do our best. And it was all just very disingenuous. I didn't have a good feeling about it. And months had gone by, and I started texting my DA to follow up and see where we're at with the case. And all of a sudden, my messages started going green, and he had an iPhone. And I'm following her social media because I was scared from the beginning that I wouldn't be able to depend on the DAs to do it and gather all this evidence of her showing no remorse for what she did. And I come across one of her social media posts, her Instagram story, and she said, "Thank God for the DAs for dropping my case, no charges." And I immediately started messaging my DA, how could this happen? Is she being serious? Is she trolling? What's going on here? And then, of course, I messaged my lawyer at the Thomas More Society and shared this information. And of course, he was like, well, it's very unfortunate, but I'm not shocked that this has happened. And so some of the team at the Thomas More Society, who have been very, very helpful on my case, they went ahead and did some research into the DAs assigned to my case, and come to find out that the main DA is not even a member of the New York bar. He's just a simple law school graduate, and he was able to be in charge of this case under what they call a student practice rule.
Are you serious?
Only supposed to be used for very minor offenses, right? Not a internationally recognized assault case that got media attention, from here to Australia, right? But this is the joke about living in cities like New York, where politics, your political opinion, that trumps justice, that trumps what our Constitution says, what our laws say. And very, very well that if this were to be the opposite, I'd probably still be serving some sort of sentence, or I don't know, I'd have 8,000 community service hours, who knows? But I would never be able to live it down if I was a pro-lifer that punched a pro-choicer, because that is just where we're at in our country, and it is such a shame.
Yes, it is. The hypocrisy is evident. You remember the group of people who were arrested in D.C., I believe, and in prison for a while. In comparison to them, when you look at what happened, I mean, they were going to give them 5-10 years or so in D.C. But for you, they just throw the case out and bring in some guy that doesn't even know how to tie his shoes to be over your case. I mean, that makes no sense at all. And so your lawyers at the Thomas More Center argued this could qualify as a hate crime because you were targeted specifically for your pro-life religious beliefs. Do you believe that? And why does it matter whether it's called a hate crime or just an assault?
Of course. Well, it matters because it's the facts. Like I said before, Christians are being persecuted all across the West, and religious freedom is something that should be protected and is protected under our Constitution. Right? It's freedom of religion, not freedom from religion. And so you getting offended that somebody wants to use their First Amendment right to preach the gospel or stand up for what they believe in a respectful way where they're not being violent, get over it. Like, some of these people have never been bullied. That's what I'm getting. True. Is that they've never been told no when they're growing up. They never see something that makes them uncomfortable. They think that everywhere they go, they are owed comfort, and you are only owed comfort in the comfort of your own home, not when you go out and you're around other people. And the left also loves to call everything discrimination, right? If you have something to say about how somebody lives their lifestyle, if they're transgender or homosexual, right? Or they're doing OnlyFans. Oh, well, you can't say anything about that. That's discriminatory. You're putting women down. You're putting gay and trans people down. But then a Christian wants to go out and preach the gospel respectfully, whether peacefully is what I mean, whether you take that as respect or disrespect, that's something you need to go home and sit with yourself, right? When you're triggered by the words of the word of God, right? Or when you're triggered when somebody says we shouldn't be killing babies in the womb, you need to sit with yourself and think about, why does that trigger me so much?
Yes, I agree with that. Breonna Rivers, she didn't just walk free. She went online and marketed a BAM t-shirt with a fist hitting a face. And she did this, I guess, in the name of capitalism, to raise money for her legal defense, even though the case was ultimately dropped. So I guess she's using that money to go to buffets now. But she mocked you publicly. And Alvin Bragg's office issued a quiet apology and moved on. What is justice supposed to look like in a case like this?
Justice is supposed to look like this woman being held accountable. And that means legally, civilly, and publicly, right? She will, for as long as I have anything to say about it, be known as the woman who cannot control her emotions when she meets somebody who disagrees with her, right? Who just uses violence when she disagrees with her. And this goes so much deeper. And I keep talking about faith because I talk to people like Breonna J. Rivers all the time, and they're never somebody who has a relationship with Christ. They're never someone who roots their life and their identity in Christ. They're living for worldly things. They're focusing on what the world can give them rather than what they can contribute to people that are less fortunate or less vulnerable. And they don't have anything that they really stand on. There's no value system that they have. And so that's, again, not something that we were made for. And when you focus on things that really don't matter and they're just going to be here when you die, you're not going to be a very happy person. And so ultimately, overall, I say this on all the interviews that I talk about, I pray that Breonna truly finds God, and that she finds peace within herself, because this is a woman who is so clearly broken and allegedly, okay, this is things that I've seen on Facebook comments of people who claim that they know her. So this is alleged. Breonna does have a daughter, allegedly, who she lost custody of years ago. And maybe that's why the conversation hit a nerve. Sure. Right. That she doesn't have custody of her child, allegedly. So it just all goes to show that, this woman has gone through some difficult things in her life. The lineup photo that was used to recognize her when I went to the police department was another mugshot from a previous arrest. And that says a lot. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, that is strange, but it's New York. It's anything goes in commie New York. Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, my goodness. Zoran Mamdani. It's a mess there. But the thing that I like about you, which reminds me of myself, I've gone to all of the school board meetings, been kicked out, jacked up by cops, handcuffed, all of that stuff, is that you, my friend, you, with that, sweet, tender face, calm, all of that stuff, but you can take a licking and keep on ticking. You got sucker punched for the world to see. With blood coming down your face, everything, and you didn't quit. You didn't quit. The Bible says every person who would desire to live godly in Christ Jesus will suffer persecution. You were persecuted for your biblical worldview. It's almost like the early church. You got hit, injured, and no guy, especially young lady, wants to have their face damaged. You had to get stitches, but you still are going back to the same corners, the same streets all around the country, doing the same thing. I'm mesmerized by it. Do you now have to travel with security and find other people to be with you to support you?
Yes. So I'm very grateful that I've been able to hire security with people supporting my work, and any large events, especially protests during Pride Month and the No Kings protests, I have to bring multiple security guards because I've kind of been I guess named as a right-wing troll here in the city. people notice me pretty quickly and recognize me, and then it becomes the talk of the town, and then the protest becomes about me. People don't even know why they're there anymore. So it just goes to show that cult-like mentality, but I continue to expose it because, you mentioned those who desire to live a life in Christ Jesus will be persecuted. We're told that. And Jesus also says that, before they hated you, they hated me first. And I want to take precautions so that I'm not hurt again, of course, but this is just a work and a passion that I feel I was called to do. And I love it. It doesn't feel like work. And especially recently, I've had some conversations where people are really wanting to learn. And I'm taking an approach of okay, we're identifying why, what you think, why you think this way. And then, as you know from my videos, most people can't articulate why they think that way. So I want to start to break it down. Where did you start to think this way? Why do you think this way? Who told you to think this way? And then they come to the realization when they can't back up the way they think, maybe they don't really think that way. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's just the way that they're told that they should think because of how they look, because of how they identify and their experiences.
Right.
And I think that's really how we're going to change our country and our world.
Yes, I agree with that. I want to show this video clip of you going back to the streets and doing what you do best. You are resilient, my friend. Take a look at this.
You enjoyed what?
I enjoyed seeing your face getting punched.
Oh, you like when women get abused?
I just don't think what you did was correct, and I think you deserve.
What did I do?
You were confrontational and you said the wrong thing.
What did I say?
Somebody said something.
Tell me what I said since you know everything.
You do.
All right, hold it right here.
About
With this lady, this lady, she just said, I enjoyed seeing your face get punched. I mean, what? Now, I know that you're mixed, okay? But what's up with white liberal women? I mean, help me out here. I need someone to tell me that. What is up with white liberal white women?
I don't know. Something's wrong. It is a pandemic that is sweeping our nation. Something with these white liberal women. They have drank some crazy juice. This woman, I've never seen her at protests before until this day. She seemed to be with some of the organizers. I recognized a couple of them. But, I'm just having a conversation standing on the street. This was at the Venezuela protests. So, of course, the liberals were against it. Mm-hmm. And then there's Venezuelans on the other side. They had to separate them because the liberals were so violent. The Venezuelans are celebrating, and I'm trying to get people's opinions on both sides. And she just tells me, I love seeing your face getting punched. And I'm not even surprised at this point, because these are the same people who celebrated Charlie Kirk being assassinated in front of the world.
That's right.
And so it doesn't surprise me, but I have to continue to expose it. There are times where it's like, okay, I can just walk away. There's no point to this conversation. But no, I want her to tell me, okay, well, you love seeing me getting punched. Okay, so sometimes when people are being horrible or being violent, sometimes they deserve to get punched, but I wasn't being violent. I never put a hand on this woman. So tell me exactly what I did to deserve this. Well, you were confrontational and you said the wrong thing. Okay, so me saying the wrong thing, in your opinion, warrants me being assaulted and then having to get stitches. What type of world do we live in? Okay, so does that mean what you're saying right now? I think what you're saying right now is confrontational. You're saying the wrong thing. You're being stupid. Should I just be able to go and punch you?
Good question.
Not.
Good.
Because then she's going to go call the police that she wants defunded.
Yeah, exactly, right? What a travesty. Take a look at this.
Women deserve rights from the womb to the tomb.
Yes, and what about their rights to control their bodies and have abortion?
Yeah, women can control their bodies, but killing a baby in the womb is not controlling your body.
She's an anti-abortion.
Do you want to have a discussion about it, or you just want to say, I know you don't. Abortion is murder. Yeah. Abortion's murder.
Good. I'm glad you guys are
Do you know that 400,000 black babies are murdered in the womb every single year? Do you care about black people? Do you care about black people?
No.
She brought up abortion. I'm not talking to you, sweetheart.
I don't care. Let her come and do what she wants to do.
Do you care about black babies being murdered in their mother's womb?
Do you care about colored babies?
So bad. So bad.
See, they say they care about black people. They say they care about minorities. But as soon as it's black babies in the womb, you have nothing to say. You have nothing to say. So she's excited that a woman's assaulted, and she's excited that black babies are being.
I am.
Yeah, of course you are.
You needed it.
Yeah.
And how dare you come out here? You're
Right.
a horrible.
How dare I come out on stolen land? You guys claim it's stolen land.
I'm white. I don't know what you think I am.
Well, you're white passing, because that's what you all say.
Okay. Well, you're pretty white too, hon.
I know, and I'm proud of it. My mother was white, so I'm very proud of being white.
Ah, you got her.
So why are you so rude? Why can't you handle a difference of opinion? Why do you guys always walk away, turn your backs, hide your face, you wear a mask? Because you're so scared to be seen out here. You guys have no facts on your side. You guys are the real fascists.
This is amazing. I mean,
That was a spicy day. It was very cold outside and they wanted to play. So I was like, let's go.
yeah. So unpack that for me. The banter, the white aspect of it all, and what she's saying. You know, because also you mentioned that you now have to look over your shoulder everywhere you go because people can easily identify you. What does that feel like, even having confrontations like this, but simply attempting to just talk and ask questions?
Yeah, I mean, just last Sunday, I had a guy follow me to the train station for nearly 2 blocks until I loudly asked him, "Why are you following me?" so other people could hear around. I mean, it's scary because I don't think of myself as like quote unquote famous. My friends joke all the time, like, everyone knows who you are. I'm like, really? But for me, this is just, you know, I'm the same activist that I was 6 years ago when I was in a musical theater school here in the city, where I just educated myself during COVID. I had nothing else to do. And I was like, you know, I think that I want to be an anti-abortion activist. So I went from performing on stage to now talking to people on the streets. And so it's difficult, but I know that this is just part of it. And I have to take the precautions, you know, to keep myself safe. But it's amazing how people like you and me trigger these white liberals.
Yeah.
Right, Pastor John?
Yeah.
Because they see us and they automatically do this identity politics where they think, well, you know, he's a black man or she's a mixed woman or she's a black woman. She has to think this way. And so I confuse them when I go out and I challenge their worldview and I say, hey, you know, I actually am a brown woman, a black woman, whatever you want to call me, that voted for Trump. And here's what I think he's done well. I don't think everything he does and says is amazing, but he's a human being and we shouldn't idolize him. He is a man, right? But I think he was better than the alternative because of XYZ. And instead of sitting there and being like, okay, well, I want to know why somebody who looks like her would think this way, they automatically see me as an enemy. And they want to cast me out. And I say, you know, you say you care about black people. I say that very often in my videos, in multiple conversations, like I did in the one you just showed, where I'm like, you know, you say you care about black people, right? You want to uplift black voices, but then here one is, and you want to shut me down. Well, do you care about the black babies? Do you care that 88% of black people are being murdered by other black people? Do you want to talk about that? No, because it doesn't match their narrative. It's uncomfortable. And when they expose that they actually support the genocide of black people, they don't want to be held responsible for that.
And then they get angry and say you should have been punched, or they actually do punch you. You know, it's a double standard. The pro-life movement has been called every name imaginable. People who oppose abortion have been targeted, harassed, and physically attacked. You know all well about that. What does the church need to understand about the cost that activists like you are paying on the front lines, and what does the church owe you?
Sure. Well, I don't want to say that the church owes me anything, but I think that the church themselves needs to step up a little bit more and be a known safe haven for women who are in crisis pregnancies, or even just need help after their children, are born, right? Every church should have a life ministry. It should have an active life ministry and know the local resources that are available in that area for women to point toward. It is a fact that over 60% of women who do seek abortion identify with the Christian faith. That should not be a statistic. That is a problem. Women should know that they can go to churches, even if they have conceived before before being wed, that they're not going to be persecuted for that. They understand that that's a sin. They know deep down that that is a sin. And at this point, the baby's already in existence. So what can we do to help this mother get on her feet, whether that is, maternal housing, if she's in a rough living situation, if she needs food, she needs pregnancy care, prenatal care, and of course, counseling. Right. And then does she want to keep this child, or does she want to find a family to graciously give this child to through adoption? There are so many options that the birth mother has through adoption, and it can be so beautiful, even though it's a difficult process, right? Carrying this child and then giving them to a family, but the woman has so many choices, and that's what's so misunderstood around this. And so each church needs to have a life ministry or some sort of system set up that makes it easier and welcoming to women that are in these difficult situations.
Yes, I agree with that. I want to show this next video clip, and this is them challenging you on Charlie Kirk. Take a look.
Charlie Kirk was murdered while sitting in a chair speaking. Would all of you agree that everyone in America should have the ability to speak their mind, even if, they disagree with other people, as long as it's respectful, right? Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Keep it respectful. People like Charlie Kirk were murdered. Oh, no. Oh, but going off of what you just said, you all agreed with me. Everyone should be able to have their opinions. Charlie Kirk was murdered while sitting in a chair speaking. Can you...
She's not wrong. Is that controversial?
She's not wrong.
Unpopular opinion. At the end of the day, he was discussing black people in such a terrible light.
What did he say about black people that was terrible?
So the thing is, a stereotype that black on black crime is so detrimental, and it is detrimental, but he made it seem as though like it is the highest rate of crime amongst black crime, black against black. I'm a criminal justice forensic psychology, so I know that. He's spreading hate and derogatory, just like rhetoric. So listen,
88% of black people are killed by other black people. Black women are only 13%.
Hold it.
Gosh.
This is good. What did she just say? Don, can you roll that back just a little bit, man? What did she just say?
And derogatory, just like rhetoric. So listen.
All right, hold it. Savannah, you're mixed. You have to understand Ebonics a little bit. Black father, white mother. What is derogatory rhetoric? Help me. I mean, that's a new one. I'm from the streets. My father is from Nigeria, so he's still working on his English. But derogatory rhetoric. Help me. Come on.
Yeah. I'm not a criminal forensic psychologist. I didn't go to school for that. So, but I can take a wild guess and say that I think she meant rhetoric. I know pronunciation is hard nowadays, but I think this is just a representation. The whole package is just a walking contradiction. But, unfortunately, this is another issue where, I get a lot of pushback for this about saying, you look in the mirror every day and you see a white woman and you have so many issues with the black community. Yes, I do, because we've done it to ourselves, right? I look in the mirror and see half of my mother and half of my father, and that's a, brown woman, right, with curly hair. But I don't identify myself with a specific race of people and call them my community just because they look like me. My community is people who love me, who love the Lord, who want to do amazing things and contribute to society. I would not associate with myself with this group of women, not because they're Black, not because they are liberal, but because of how they act and carry themselves, right? These are not upstanding members of society. I will say those shorts have a lot of power in them. I will say that.
Those shorts have a lot of power in. I mean, whoever makes those jeans, I mean, they are definitely reinforced. I mean, indeed. Watch.
88% of Black people are killed by other Black people. Black women are only 13% of the population. They take part in nearly 40% of abortions. So can we take responsibility that,
Sure. Who do you support? Like in the 2024 election, who do you support?
I voted for Trump.
Right.
This is not my space.
I'm gonna keep it good day. You have a good day.
Thanks for not killing me, I guess.
I mean, this is not my space because you voted for Trump. It really makes no sense. And I can, just looking at those young ladies, you can tell that they're fluid. You know, they're kind of, they kind of got their wires crossed a bit on sex and who they should appear like, who they should be with. You can tell that there's some spiritual battles taking place.
Yeah.
As you encounter people on the streets who have foreign ideologies, how do you keep your composure? And how do you prepare for the back and forth banter?
Right. Well, I really don't do a lot of preparation before I go out. And I think part of that is because I just want to be real. I don't want to be prepared for
rehearsed.
a conversation and to try to make it go in some certain way. Right. That's not my intention, which a lot of on the street creators do, not like really any on the right, but just people in general, as they try to rage bait. And that's not going to help anyone. It's not going to help our side. It's just going to entertain the trolls on the internet that want to laugh at people. And I actually want to help change people's minds. I want to plant a seed. If I'm able to do that, I say, hey, it's a win. But with keeping my composure, I don't know. I think I'm generally just a calm person. Nothing really surprises me much when people say crazy things. It's wild. I mean, to think that they say it on the internet, of course, there's going to be some people who are wild enough to say it in person. And when it becomes so normalized, saying that, yeah, Charlie Kirk deserved it and Savannah Craven deserved to get punched because she said the wrong thing and she was confrontational. If enough people say it, it becomes normal. It does become a popular opinion. And people just don't think about what they're saying and how it's going to affect them down the line, especially on camera. It's like, we're filming and you know it and you still say it. I don't get it.
Yeah, it makes no sense. How do you go about finding locations to go do woman on the street, man on the street? How do you go about that? How do you target those destinations and where do you plan on going next?
Sure. So I will follow along with the liberal protesters. I mean, there are organized groups all across the country, especially here in New York City. They're always mad about Trump or, something, always complaining about something. And so they have these No Kings protests, which have now become, a national effort. And of course, Pride Month is one of my favorite months to film, probably my most favorite month because it's just the craziest of all. You get all different types of people saying the most wildest things and breaking down this ideology and then just watching it diminish right in front of them. It's incredible. And I had some breakthroughs, even though from that video is kind of rough, but I had some breakthroughs from this last Pride. And so those are the types of events that I try to focus on. And as for where I'm going next, we have the fall semester coming up. So I'll be hitting campuses and trying to reach this next generation that we're raising and that are so influenced by social media and finding out all their news there. I want to have conversations with them and talk with them and partner with different conservative groups. So that's what I'm going to do next.
What conservative groups are you working with for your fall tour at campuses?
Yes, so I'll be working with young Republican groups and Turning Point USA chapters, as well as pro-life groups as well.
Awesome. Awesome. I want to show this next video clip of you doing what you do best, and this is just hilarious. Watch.
Do you guys see this? I'm like literally.
We have a mafia on us.
This is very weird. This is very fascistic behavior. Are you okay? You're shaking.
Bro, the eyes. Why the eyes look like that?
All right, hold it right here. Go back a little bit, Don. This is just.
Eyes. Why the eyes look like that?
All right. Pause it. So you're trying to get by.
Yeah.
And they've created like a human shield, and they're blocking you, and you're trying to go underneath it.
I was trying to hop the border. I know.
So is that what you call this?
Yeah, trying to hop the lesbian border. I call them lesbian ice.
No, no. Oh, I've never heard that term before. Come on, is that original?
I made it up while at the protest that day. I was like, this is like lice. And some of them did look like they might have had a little lice. But I don't know. It's so hypocritical to me that these people are apparently marching for minority rights. You know, people are part of the LGBTQ, everything community, and the rights of immigrants. They were talking about Palestine. They were talking about Iran there. They had signs, stop the genocide. But then they want to remove me. And as you can see in this line of women, who's the only colored person? Me.
True.
And it's like, why are you white women, you liberal white women, kicking a brown woman out of the space? That's not very nice, is it?
It makes no sense. So it's got to be rough, because in the last video, the young lady says, well, hey, this is not my space. I got to go. So she's like, I don't want to be around you because you support Trump. And then you get out here and you see the white liberal linebackers and who have lice, and they don't want you around as well. And so you're trying to get through, and they're blocking you. Watch this. This is
Queer people celebrate everybody. Love is love. Yeah.
All right, hold this one. What is this?
You're making me laugh. I think this is a male that presents as a female. It's just my guess. I'm not totally sure though.
Doing the whole toga thing, I guess.
I don't know. It's like a whimsy 70s look, I guess.
And this is in New York.
This is in New York City, yes.
What area?
We were on our way to Washington Square Park. Mm-hmm. So this is Lower Manhattan on the west side.
Got it. Oh my goodness, man. This is unbelievable. Watch.
Queer conservatives.
No, never. No.
Not everybody.
No, we don't. Fascism.
I feel like this is fascism. They've tried to block me out of the space, and I'm a brown woman. Do I belong here?
Of course, everybody belongs.
But you just contradicted yourself. I want to see how much you guys can run.
I don't like that she's following her like that. I really don't like that. I'm not a fan.
All right, hold it. So you said, I'm going to see how much you guys like to run. See, that you're able to do this, keep your composure, keep the humor up as well, but know that at any given moment, someone might grab you, sucker punch you, and the likes. I mean, you listen, you are a trooper, and I admire it. I really do. We need more like you, Savannah. Watch.
Thank you. You gotta be faster than that, sweetie.
Look, we can't move. Look, we can't move.
You guys are such losers.
These people are unpredictable with their wolves.
Oh, be careful. Be careful, girl. I don't know if you're used to this type of endurance.
Oh, my
You
goodness.
like my shirt?
I love it.
Why are you blocking her from speaking to me? So weird.
Oh, watch out for the fascists.
It's our policy to follow all.
Is that the law? Did Mom Donnie or Hochul make that law? So what makes you think you have the right to go and do that and silence somebody else's voices?
Not doing that.
No, you're not. You don't. I know. That's what you guys always say, right? That it's the white people oppressing people of color, and you are following me around and telling people not to talk to me and silencing my voice, and I don't appreciate that. So I'm going to ask you to stop once, and then I will be getting the actual police to tell them that you are stalking me, because right now you are stalking me. Got it? All right. Let's continue.
So they're stalking you, but help me understand something. Why the masks? Why the masks? Why?
Well, they don't want to show their faces. I mean, this is something that's been exposed time and time again, that these are paid protesters. We actually saw this day, they were texting on their phone, the women who were surrounding me and my friend Ariel and Daniel, who were actually gay themselves, and they were being treated just the same exact way as I was, which I will collab with all different types of conservative content creators, because we need to include everyone, right? That's what Jesus would have done. He would have included and sat with everybody and talked with them. But just to show that the hypocrisy of the left, that if you even differ from their politics a little bit, you're out of the club, right? And the way that Daniel and Ariel are treated when they're supposed to be included in this community, it's disgusting. It's horrible. And so with this, this is the most upset you'll see me get, the most frustrated is when I use that sort of parental tone with them, because they need to be confronted that they're hypocrites and that what they're doing is exactly what they say the right is doing, excluding people, trying to act like they're, totalitarians. This is totalitarianism, trying to kick someone out of a public space. That is real fascism. That is king type behavior.
It truly is. And, politics makes what they call strange bedfellows. I do remember times where I was working at the General Assembly in North Carolina to try to push some bills, and during a certain season, we were fighting against some bathroom bills, and there were some people who were part of the LGBTQ community who were in support of it. However, when it came time to try to push school vouchers and things of that nature, those same people kind of sided with us and supported us, and so you collabed and you worked together. I get it, but you always keep things where people know where you stand, and vice versa, so that you don't become influenced by a person's thought process of what they desire to do. One of the things that I am seeing also from your videos is that you are a happy warrior, right? And that's a rare and unique quality. That's the name, actually, of the pro-life group at the church that I attend, Upper Room Church of God in Christ. They've been doing that kind of work since 2010, in particular, going to abortion clinics and trying to save babies, and they've saved over 3,000 babies since 2010. But being a happy warrior, what does that mean to you? When I say that to you, what does that mean to you?
Sure. For me, it just means finding the joy in even the rough moments. This past year has been really, really rough for me, between the assaults and moving to, work for myself. From being at a pro-life organization before, it was a big switch on how am I going to do this? I'm still only 24. So figuring all this out in a big city. And then unfortunately, my mom lost her life to an undiagnosed stage 4 cancer last November. And this was like a week and a half after the diagnosis. And I saw how quickly life can just disappear. And of course, this reinforced my pro-life beliefs, being pro-life in all aspects, and never knowing how much time you have left. And it can be very easy to be consumed by all the negativity in the news and what's happening in our country, what we just saw happen in Spain yesterday. It's very depressing. Turning on the news and opening social media is so depressing. But having a relationship with God, remembering that there is a life past this, You know, life can be beautiful here on earth, but it also can be pretty crappy a lot of the time. There's a lot of struggles. And so knowing that, you know, if we follow God, that we're going to have paradise one day, we have the opportunity to be in paradise with our Lord. That's what keeps me going. And that if I sit back and start to feel bad for myself, that's taking time away, that I could help somebody else.
Your mother played a pivotal role in your life, and you all were very close. I saw some clips of that or pictures where you talked about that. She was your hero, or better said, heroine, that you honored and revered. Talk about that. And even though she's transitioned, talk about that relationship that you had with your mother.
Absolutely. Well, it was always just me and her. My mom had an unintended pregnancy with me and, you know, chose life for me. And so I was always very grateful for that. And my mom was somebody who just, from the moment that she saw those 2 pink lines, I was her entire world. She sacrificed so much so that I could have opportunities. And for some reason, she just always believed in me. When I told her that after COVID, I didn't want to go back to New York City, I wanted to take a break from college. There was also lots of stuff going on with them wanting us to wear masks while we were performing and wanting to push the COVID vaccine. I just said, hey, you know, I just think that there's something more for me. And this was after she had told me about some guy named Charlie something. She was watching on Fox News every now and then and said, you know, you really need to find your tribe, Savannah. I didn't have a lot of friends going to my musical theater school. People were very liberal and just, you know, crazy. And I really wanted to find a group of people who had gone through similar things as me. And I don't regret my college performing days, because it really did help me with stage presence and talking to people in public. But my mom said, okay, go ahead and go off and start this stuff. And so I got involved with Blexit and Turning Point and really just started focusing on the pro-life activism. And when I told her I wanted to go back to New York to do pro-life activism, she said, all right, if that's what you want to do, get a job and find a place to live and I support you. And whenever this stuff happened with my assault, of course, she was the first person that I went to. And she just said, always make sure that you stay doing this for the right reason. Keep doing it for the right reason, not because you want fame or you want attention, but because this is your passion. And that is what people need to remember if they want to be an influential figure, if they want to be a content creator, is ask yourself, are you doing this because you want to make a difference or because you want attention? Because attention only lasts so long, and it doesn't truly fill that gap, in inside of you. And I continue doing this because my mom was so supportive of me. When I think, I've had a long day, a hard day of filming, maybe I didn't get as good a content as I wanted, or people were really mean, I sit down and think, at least I showed up today. And my mom would have said, good job. She would have been proud of me. So she was a blessing for sure, and still is.
Yes, indeed. Do you think that your story is what really gave you a passion for the pro-life movement?
Yes, part of it. I mean, to think that I could have just been a 15-minute, in and out, I could have been gone. And my mom always said that although I did not plan for you, you were the reason that I was put on this earth. You were my purpose. And my mom lived that every single day. We went back and forth because I was her twin. It's like she was arguing with herself. But I never doubted that this woman loved me and would do anything for me. And I knew even if I failed that I would have her to go to. And so now that she's not physically here anymore, it put me in a position where it's like, no one is just going to come to save me.
Right.
Because the person that would have is no longer here. So I have to continue this work. There are days where I'm just not feeling as motivated. And I remember that even God rested. It's good to rest. This street content and talking to people who are so broken is sometimes not just mentally exhausting, but physically exhausting. Like it literally puts me in a state where I need to just not be on my phone at all for over 24 hours.
So true.
But we recharge, we go to church, and then we keep going.
Yes, indeed. For people out there who may be in a season where they're trying to find purpose and meaning, we have about a minute left. Can you speak to that individual that's searching and seeking for purpose, but they haven't found it?
Sure. Well, I would say to ask God genuinely to use you. And this is it can be a scary prayer, a daunting prayer, because you don't know what he's going to do next, right? I was used as a punching bag when I asked God to use me. But if you are at a point where you really don't know your purpose, I have some friends who struggle with, just not having many hobbies. And I say, you need to find your interest by asking God to put it in front of you. Let him put in front of you what you're supposed to do with your life, or what you're supposed to do maybe just for this moment, for the foreseeable future, and what that would lead you to, right? Like me attending these events, I didn't really know what to expect. I made friends, but I was like, I want more. I want maybe somebody to care about what I have to say. One of these days, when I was watching these speakers on the stage, when I was listening to Charlie on his podcast, and then asking God to literally put it in front of me. What do you want me to do, Lord? Use me. And he has. Yeah. And you just keep going from there. It's not going to be an easy journey, right?
No.
It's never going to be easy. It's not always going to be fun, and not putting your identity in, oh, how many likes did this get? How many subscribers do I have today? That's awesome. But again, it's just a number. And it's about the purpose of why you're doing what you're doing. So ask God, and he will deliver sooner or later. I guarantee it.
Indeed. Savannah, you are a blessing and a joy to talk to. Thank you so much for joining Disturbing the Peace. I'm going to have you back on the show. I possibly need to fly you into North Carolina. We'll sit down in the studio and have a conversation, and I'll put you up well and take good care of you. Thank you for coming on the show. It's an honor to dialogue with you.
Thank you so much, Pastor John. It was a pleasure.
You too. God bless you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, my friends, I'm sure that you are saying to yourselves right now that is a tough, feminine warrior. Yes, indeed. We need more Savannah Cravens out there. We do. More people who are bold enough to have the courage of their convictions and not be afraid to display it and show it. She's not going out to the streets of backwood towns in the country. She's in New York. She's in Harlem getting sucker punched. She's going to Manhattan, Times Square, you name it. She's in a place where, millions of people travel to daily. And so we need to pray for her, pray that God covers her and strengthens her. We need to pray that God would provide the necessary security to keep her while she's out there doing this kingdom work. Please do so as you consider what you just saw. My friends, it's Friday. And so Friday is where we prepare to sign off with hopes that we will come back on Monday. There's no promise of today, and there's no promise of tomorrow. All we have is the here and the now. And so I will say this, the Lord will. I pray that I'll be back on Monday to get back on the show and talk about disturbing the peace and all of the many things that are going on around us. Do me a big favor, pray for me, pray for my family, pray that the will of the Lord be done. There are some major things that are coming our way, major opportunities, major partnerships as well. And so we want to make sure that we're in the will of God and moving at the pace that God has given us to move. So pray for the DTP team. Pray for the Amanchukwu team. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Set your notifications so you know when I'm going live. Go to the Apple Podcast platform go to the Spotify platform, give me a 5-star review, and let me know below in the comments section. Am I right or am I wrong? Am I weak or am I strong? God bless you, and God bless America. Take care.